I think this is like our hummingbird. Look at that. This one, taste it. This one's good. I recognize it, you know?
Yeah.
Because it keeps coming back every year. And then it just like flies off into the woods.
This afternoon, Fourneau is in the garden with Katie Burdett.
Hi.
Farmer, gardener, chef.
A bug just flew right into my eye. That's like a pretty normal thing, actually.
Content creator.
Oh my God.
She is also my sister-in-law.
That's true.
Sorry. Lucky me. Today I'm in the garden with Katie to see what is coming out of the ground at the end of the spring, start of the summer.
I'm so happy that you're here.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful time of year. We're kind of in between the spring crops and the summer crops. Well, let's head over to the garlic and we'll take a peek.
You describe yourself as a gardening
Evangelist?
evangelist.
Yeah. I'm definitely a former farmer, a former organic farmer, and I just like to share what I've learned over the past, 15 years of growing food. So I sort of putz around my garden and put it online, and that's pretty much it. In my heart, I'm an environmentalist. Being able to grow your own food does so many things. It accomplishes so many things. And by being able to share resources like this, I'm hoping that any little snippet of that will help someone be able to grow their own food, even in a community garden, on a rooftop, on a balcony, just a couple pots, or a whole full homestead or micro farm, any of those things. I would just hope that people might feel inspired to see and taste the difference of like homegrown food. This garlic is a hard net garlic, so it's scaped already, which I've cut off, which sends all the energy to the bulb. Usually when about 2/3 of the plant starts to brown or die back, you know that it's ready. The thicker the stem, the bigger the bulb will be.
Okay.
So I wouldn't really want to try kind of like a wimpy one here, but if there's like a really nice good looking one, that one looks great. Do you want to pull that out of the ground and see?
Oh my goodness, it's really
nice. Beautiful.
This one is good.
This one looks great. This variety is called Music. At this point, I could eat this fresh if I wanted, but I would probably hang this up in big giant bundles and let it dry for about 2 weeks. The papery skin and the whole thing will start to dehydrate a little bit, become more, kind of concentrated in flavor and easier to peel then. So awesome. I really like this variety, and I think we can still use it fresh though today.
Fresh garlic.
Yeah.
I can't wait. This is right off your house. How much does a garden like this produce? It produces more than we need. And so if you come over, I'm gonna send you away with some food. There's no doubt about it. Understanding, how to make the most out of all of the hard work that you put into the garden is actually just as important as like understanding how to grow that stuff. You can't just like give someone a vegetable and hope for the best. Like you have to provide the full resource. And so some of my specialty has been what to do when you have like a mass amount of something. So if you planted like an entire bed of beets, not really understanding how many beets that might be, what do you do with a ton of beets all at once, or a ton of carrots, or how do you store those things? It's hard to eat that much beet juice.
It's a lot of beet juice. Let's check on some zucchini over there. I have 2 zucchini plants, and I can already see from here there's like a big giant zucchini.
Ooh, yeah,
so I'll cut over there.
Nice.
Yeah, that one's looking pretty good. There's like 3 on this plant.
Yeah.
There's like 2 back here.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think? This one kind of looks like the best one.
Okay.
Sometimes it'll break when you do it that way, but my snips are far away.
Boom. There
Perfect.
It is.
I think that's a great size.
That's gorgeous.
That looks really good. Okay, I think how about something oniony? Every day at this time of year there's something to harvest, so it forces you to do a lot of home cooking.
And you're growing from like what month to what month?
So I actually grow year round here with the help of the greenhouse. Not everything grows well in the summertime. I'm planting certain things that like the cold weather and thrive in the cold weather. The lettuces and the greens are really sort of cooler weather, shoulder season, winter crops. I can appreciate that sort of seasonality. There's certain things you can do with season extension, variety selection, and working with the weather and with nature to make that happen. It keeps it fresh. This is my onion bed. So I've got shallots on the left here. These got a little squished with the rain as well. And then I think white and red onions.
Yeah.
The onions are actually triggered to start to bulb by the long day at the solstice. So I grow long day onions. The onions that you grow depend on the day length that you have where you are. And so I grow either intermediate or long day onions. And so you can see they're just starting to bulb up at the very bottom. So I would say probably by the end of July here, I'll have full-size onions ready to either use fresh or cured. I think I'm gonna leave these for a little bit more because I have some really nice looking scallions we can harvest instead. When you bring veggies in from the garden, they're going straight to the kitchen. There's no middleman, there's no trucks, there's no grocery store, there's none of that. You're lowering your carbon footprint in many ways. You're reducing packaging, but I still plant too many of things a lot of the times because, you know, I'm used to having to bring a lot to market and to have something available for, you know, 8 to 10 months out of the year.
Look at that guy.
Oh, hi Mama.
Just another deer who wants to be on YouTube. Actually,
this is her garden. I think that people decide to have a garden for many, many reasons. There's a peacefulness to it. It really forces you to pay attention. There's sort of a mindfulness component. I come out every day and tend to it just tiny bits at a time. I'd pull weeds here and there, water here and there. There are certain kind of pest control measures where you want to look on the underside of a leaf to check for eggs. That's a really present moment to be able to look and see, wow, that plant really changed from yesterday to today. You know, what does that mean? When you grow something, and let's say it's just like one jalapeno plant, and you get your first jalapeno and you harvest it, I mean, there's no way you're gonna waste that jalapeno, you know, because you grew it, it's your little baby. Understanding what that looks like is kind of an amazing process, you know? I'm almost sort of having to kind of train myself out of the farmer habits that I had before. I have to keep reminding myself that this is just a home garden for personal use and that I don't have to maximize every square inch of soil. And so I'm always trying to kind of grow things that I feel like I really just enjoy, and also to incorporate a lot of beauty, that it's not just about high production, that there's also an element of joy and relaxation and all of those things.
This is so beautiful.
Another crop I love to grow, super cold hardy. You can grow them in the summer, spring, fall, and they overwinter as well. This parsley is my favorite variety of parsley.
Flat leaf, but it's more than that. What is this variety?
It's called Giant of Italy.
Okay.
And it's just so aromatic. It's so green and lush. It grows so easily, and it grows for the whole season and overwinters. So I've got parsley until next spring if I just leave it outside, uncovered, super cold tolerant. I think that's just so delicious. So it's like refreshing. You almost want it in like a smoothie or something. Yeah. Can you smell it? We'll harvest a little extra for you to take home.
That's a nice idea.
Yeah.
It's so gorgeous.
It's so beautiful. I mean, this at like the grocery store would be, I don't know. If you're going to grow anything in the garden, I would say herbs all the way, and this variety of parsley for sure.
Well, if you don't like parsley.
I guess it would be really too powerful.
How does a garden to table lifestyle like you have impact what you choose to make and how you cook?
They say what grows together goes together, and so that's sort of what I think about when I'm looking at the garden and seeing, okay, there's these beets, these carrots, this parsley, you know, all these things are in season together, and I think that we can make something that tastes good in that way. I think that you do have to get a little creative, but I think that's kind of like the joy and the fun and the challenge of growing your own food, is saying, you know, yeah, okay, zucchini again tonight, but like, what are we going to do this time, and how are we going to make that happen? And so that's another reason I love to pawn off zucchini on friends and other parts of the other produce from the garden, is because I'm always like, you know, hey, tell me what you did with that. I want to know what you did, and I want to hear, you know, how were you inspired to make this, so that I can steal that idea for myself. You don't want to waste any of it, because you know how much work goes into it, and how long it took to grow. I mean, garlic is a crop, for instance, that you plant in the fall. So I'm in zone 6 here in Michigan. And so I plant that around, before the first frost, but around late October, I would say. And that takes all winter long, all spring long and into the middle of July before it's ready to harvest. So, I mean, that's a really long time to grow something like garlic, and it took up a lot of space in the garden. I tended to it for that entire period of time, and so the last thing that I want to do is throw that away.
What out here has got you the most stoked?
I would say some things that have been interesting and fun for me are that my epazote plant actually came back in the same place this year from the same roots.
Wild.
So I have this massive epazote plant, so I'm starting to dehydrate that for the winter. I've been doing a lot of edible flowers this year, which I think are really, really fun. So right behind us we have some calendula.
Calendula.
Which people also use as a salve for cuts and burns and scrapes.
Cool.
Good for dry skin. This is actually some parsley that reseeded itself over the winter, and I just think it's kind of pretty, so I've been leaving
really
it.
Beautiful when it gets that huge.
Another borage. More borage. Some nasturtium, some thyme. This purple sage overwintered, and I think it's really beautiful.
Totally.
So I just love to see all the pollinators here. That's kind of my main thing. Borage is something that I planted one plant last year, and it's definitely,
out there?
That's a borage out there.
It got out there.
Yeah, it just decided, it was like, I'm gonna go there. So I was like, fine. And it actually is taking over this entire bed over here, which as a farmer is like a little hard for me to be like, oh, I'm wasting space, you know, but I'm not, because I'm bringing all these pollinators to the garden. The flowers are edible. It brings me a lot of joy. And so until those start to go to seed, I'm just gonna let that be there. She heard us and was like, oh, did you need me to get into the scene here? Okay, here you go.
She's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. So this is a real pet peeve that I have. The messaging that there are many mistakes to make. Make sure you don't do these 5 top things that will definitely give you failure in the garden.
It's like clickbait YouTube.
It's just the worst.
Okay.
There's nothing ever that goes 100% well. Even the best growers, people who've been doing this their entire lives, are always going to experience, I guess, quote unquote, failures in the garden. The other day, I had a dahlia over there that just died. I have no idea why it died. There's no reason that it should have died.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. I've been growing dahlias for years, and I have no idea what happened.
I think we should maybe make some food.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Something that's been driving me a little bit nuts is that when I need to water the garden and I'm dragging a hose around, it always kind of wants to go diagonal across the bed, right. And it's already, yeah. And that's not good because it, you know, can squish stuff.
Yeah.
And so I don't quite have enough room to like pull out the whole hose and do the whole thing. So I don't know if you have thoughts on something that might make this easier for me.
I do. I have some ideas. Since we have all of these delicious veggies, I think it kind of makes sense to make a frittata.
I think so too.
Okay.
You want to clean one and I'll clean one?
Yeah, cool.
Okay, and then I'm going to take off one more layer. I'm going to go ahead and get us a bigger bowl. I feel like we deserve it. Non-stick way, without using like so much butter or so much oil.
Can I use some of your oil?
Yeah.
I'm gonna like really baby this pan since it's new.
Do we need more olive oil in there? I'm so excited. I can't wait. I think that's a good size because it's going to puff up too.
I think we can put it too browned on the bottom.
Put it on low.
Broiler, we're definitely gonna get some direct top heat down on there. Hi.
Okay, should we cut this?
Yeah.
Wow, that is so cute. Gorgeous.
Good. The parsley is really good too.
Ooh,
Parsley and garlic.
Put some hot sauce on here.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong. I'm gonna put some hot sauce on here.
I'll do the job.
There's not really a blanket advice that you can give to anyone. So I guess if I was going to say anything, it would be to understand and observe your specific growing environment and to not be afraid to try. See what works for you and what works best. The plants want to live. They're really, it's really like what they want to do. And so they're working with you. They're already on your side. And I think that this adversarial understanding of the plant world of like, that you have to do something or they won't succeed is really quite wrong. If you can provide the right environment for them, starting with good soil, adequate watering, responsible watering, and then trying to create a whole ecosystem, thinking of everything as one ecosystem, not just that your garden is separate somehow from the rest of the world, I think will help you have a better understanding of the whole natural cycle instead of just don't do these things or you might fail. I don't like that messaging. This garden and every garden has a million microclimates. And so at certain times of year, based on the foliage on the trees, there's going to be different sunlight. And so when I plan the garden ahead of time over the winter, I plan it for the whole season, for year round, I have to think about that. So for instance, that corner of the garden is very shady until about 11 a.m. And so that's why I put the lettuce there, because I knew that the cucumbers could handle a little bit of that shade. The morning sun is the strongest, and so you want the stuff that's going to benefit the most from the morning sun, like the peppers. So for instance, like this part of the garden is like full sun starting at like 9 a.m. The greenhouse, because it's raised up, is also full sun, but that little corner has some greens. And so I could tell everyone that, this is how you set up a backyard garden in Michigan. But my garden would be different if it was 20 feet that way. And my garden would be different if there weren't trees over here, because it would be windier. And a rooftop garden in Chicago is going to be so different. There's so many different little microclimates. And so really observe your specific situation. I'm going to be observing this garden for the rest of my life. I mean, it's just, I'll never like master this garden. And I guess I also don't like to think of it that way either.
Thanks, Katie.
Thanks, Ed.
Whoosh. Oh yeah, I like that.
Don't eat the whole frittata.
Hey, you got bobcats around here?